What's up, guys? Rob from Japanese Gaming here, bringing you another commentary video. I did one kind of like this a little while ago, talking about how adults have no idea what the hell we're doing. And I got some decent gameplay for once out of a War Thunder match. The gameplay is just me driving around in the Jumbo Sherman 75, and it's the first nuke I've ever gotten in this game, actually. And it only took me, let's see, how long did it take me? It only took me, I think at the time, it was like 700 hours to get this nuke. So, uh, pro, pro gamer strats here, pro gamer status at this point. But yeah, I just wanted to hop on, do another commentary since it seemed that people enjoyed the last one a fair bit. I got some good comments and had some interesting discussions with people in the comment section of the last video, and so I figured, why not? It's been a while since I've done just well, not been a while since I did the last commentary recently, but I feel like this is a style of video that just doesn't really get made too much anymore. I know, because it's not like in vogue, it doesn't hit the algorithm or whatever. So but yeah, and the topic I wanted to discuss with everyone is I didn't do shit in 2024. I really didn't. Happy New Year, by the way. But I didn't do anything really last year, and that's okay. I think going into a new year, a lot of people reflect on the previous year, and most of the time they have a lot of gripes with things that they've like accomplished specifically. I had a lot of goals going into 2024 that I straight up just did not hit. I mean, just being completely honest with myself, with you guys, and with the people that I had discussed these kinds of things with, like friends and family and stuff like that. um, I had some aspirations that did not really come together, and I'm kind of okay with that. And I'll get into as to why that is. But going into 2024, I had some goals that I wanted to get solved or accomplish. I wanted to try to take the next step in my career at work and maybe find a different position within the company, at a higher position, try something different than what I've been doing since I've been at this company for over 5 years at this point. So I wanted to maybe find a transfer, or get a raise or a promotion, take on more responsibilities, things like that. One of the goals I had was that I wanted to try and end up finding a relationship at some point in 2024. I had some lofty aspirations for things regarding Extra Life that unfortunately did not come together. Uh, and some of those things are, you could sit and say, like, a lot of those things are kind of beyond my control. Like, it's not really up to me necessarily whether or not I get a transfer or a raise and a promotion at work. I certainly have some sort of agency in that situation through discussions of things like that with my boss, and other things, actions I could have taken. The relationship thing is kind of like almost completely beyond somebody's control. There's not really much you can do with that. And some of the stuff for Extra Life was also beyond my control. I'm not going to get too specific on the Extra Life stuff, because there are parts of it that are still in the works, hopefully for this year, as far as events that we want to host. So I'm not going to get too specific because I don't want to spoil anything. But what I will divulge is that we were looking at potentially hosting an event that would require us to have space somewhere. So we might need to rent a room or something along those lines, for this event I wanted to host. And unfortunately, the idea came to me kind of late. I mean, you guys know that I start planning stuff for Extra Life like kind of months and months in advance. Most of the time, the blocks and stuff are really already laid out 3 months ahead of time. I put the announcement video up 4 months ahead of time. The events start getting laid out. I have a schedule and all that stuff. Usually done like 2 months before the event even happens. And I guess maybe I kind of overestimated how quickly things could get done when it came to, like physical in-person type events. And so, yeah, the places that we were trying to contact in order to potentially rent space from, one of them just didn't work out because it was just way too expensive. And one of them didn't work out because the place never got back to me, despite me sending an email, then going in person to this place, asking them if they got the email, them saying, oh yeah, I have your email here. The person that responds to these kind of inquiries is just out this week. She'll be back next week. But can you do us a favor and send a follow-up? That way it's at the top of the list. I sent a follow-up and they never got back to me. So, stuff that's like beyond my control, obviously. But the bottom line in saying all of that is, a lot of the kind of like more aspirational goals and things that I had for this year, I just straight up did not accomplish. And some of it's beyond my control and some of it is well within my control, and the blame would fall on me for some of those things. Like looking back on 2024, I can't really point to anything and say that my life changed in any significant way for the better. It didn't change for the worse either, I would say. I mean, it's not like my health took a drastic turn. I mean, I had some like, annoying things come up throughout the year, but I feel like that's just part of getting older, and everyone has like annoying little nitpicky things that come up, having to deal with like, some like dental work and stuff like that. But, my life didn't change drastically in a negative direction either, but I definitely also didn't progress in a lot of the things that I kind of wanted to. And, some of the things that I did do, like with Extra Life and stuff, I'm sure you guys noticed that, every year it seems like Extra Life got bigger and better and better and better. And this year it almost kind of felt like it was more or less kind of the same as last year. I mean, even like last year was similar to the year before, but we got more people involved was like the big thing, right? And so we were able to do a little bit more. And again, a lot of that was like kind of beyond my control because people had to drop out last minute due to one reason or another. But the blame still ultimately kind of falls on me for a lot of that stuff. And it kind of was very unfortunate. I don't think Extra Life was bad this year by any stretch of the imagination, but it wasn't another step forward like it had been in the previous couple of years. And so that's something like I really kind of want to concentrate on for this year. It's like making sure that things get bigger and better, specifically when it comes to like our charity stuff, but also, maybe take some more initiative with things that are going on in my life and making sure that, I'm working towards something. I mean, I did already kind of take a step this year. I paid off my student loans, which is kind of cool. I was kind of hoping that some of that would be forgiven, but thanks to Supreme Court, that didn't end up happening. And with the incoming president, that's definitely not happening. So I was like, you know what? Rather, ooh, Donald Duck reference, I think, or Porky Pig reference there. Rather than just kind of let those things sit and accrue interest and all that other kind of stuff, I decided to pay those off. So I basically already accomplished more in this year than I did last year. But ultimately, like, my point is, I think that's kind of okay. The things that I didn't get done and I didn't accomplish or I didn't progress in last year weren't critical. They weren't crucial. They weren't a detriment to like my life in any way, shape, or form. And what I did do last year is, I had a lot of fun. I went on some pretty cool trips with some really cool people. Like, I've mentioned it before, but I'm trying to see a game in every NHL stadium. And two of the trips that I took last year are two of the best trips that I've done so far. I'm halfway done and I'm still having some of the better trips I've done. When I went to Nashville with Tim, that was a huge highlight. That was one of my favorite trips I've ever done. That was just so much fun. So many funny memories from that trip. And I went to Ottawa and Montreal this year with Claudia, who you guys have seen on the extra live streams before, and that was just such a blast. I had so much fun doing that, and yeah, I mean, does that like further me as a person in some ways? Yeah, you know, because I'm like experiencing new things and going on these trips, and that's really cool. Uh, does it provide, you know, leisure and entertainment? Yeah, absolutely. And you could argue, you know, some people might argue, well, that's not really progressing your life in any way, shape, or form. And it's like, well, maybe not, but, you know, it was just so much fun that I don't really care, you know? And I think that's like a big thing that people need to kind of sit back and realize is okay. Like, it's okay just to do things that are fun and that you enjoy and that bring you happiness in life, whether or not that's necessarily pushing you towards some greater goal. You know, does going on a hockey trip help me save up for a house? No, probably the opposite. But does it also give me, you know, memories and bonds and friendships that will hopefully last for the rest of my life? Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's important. I think a lot of people place a lot of emphasis on getting things done. What did you accomplish last year, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, you know, honestly, the fact that you're still, you know, as long as your life is relatively in control, you're, you know, stable, you have good health, you know, good mental health as well, you know, financially stable, and you're in a position to the point where, you know, you're not in any immediate danger, whether that be physically, financially, whatever the case is. Honestly, like, that's kind of just enough for just surviving another year. Like, life is really, really hard, and there are so many random things that could happen to you throughout a year that could throw everything into complete and total chaos and just ruin everything you've ever built up to. And so the fact that you're sitting here another year in to this grand adventure and you're kind of okay, that's something worth celebrating, I think. You know, I'm not saying that we should never have any sort of goals and we should never work towards those goals and we should never progress towards anything. Obviously, that's not what I'm getting at. You know, that's just being lazy, and at that point, you're kind of being an active detriment to your own life if you're kind of just in stasis all the time. But occasionally, simply just being, you know, in stasis and being alive every now and then, that's an accomplishment. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to have periods of your life where you're just being stable and you're just getting things figured out and you're just, you know, living. That's okay. You know, a lot of the times people don't think it's okay because it's like, well, I'm not accomplishing anything. It's like, well, yeah, but you're living life, you know. And I think it's important to give yourself grace and just let yourself just be every now and then. And that's kind of what I did for most of last year. You know, now if that happens again this year and nothing changes and everything's kind of mediocre again, then it's like, okay, maybe now we need to make some changes and work towards something, whether that be maybe, you know, getting in better shape and better health and, you know, whatever the case may be. But don't forget to just let, you know, give yourself a pass. Like, let yourself off the hook every now and then, because sometimes simply just living life is an accomplishment in and of itself. And especially for these next 4 years, due to the recent results of the election in the United States, I'm not going to get into any of that because I don't want to just start getting angry and ranting and raving. But because of the incoming administration, there are going to be people in the United States who are targeted for simply being who they are. And if you happen to fall into one of those groups, you know, first of all, stay strong. And I'm so sorry for the things that you're going to have to put up with over the next 4 years from not just the president, but from people that support him and the awful, awful people who are involved in any of that. So, you know, just stay strong and don't be afraid to just give yourself some extra grace and some extra time and just look at yourself and say, hey, simply just living and having fun and enjoying life right now. That's all I need to do. and that in and of itself is its own accomplishment. So yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy this kind of video. If you have any topics of things you want me to talk about in future videos, just let me know down in the comments down below. Yeah, and lots of fun things coming in 2025 for the channel, hopefully, if everything goes well. And I will see you guys again next time.